Her shadow. Is it my defeat that you want, Lotiony? I cast my heart into my rhymes, that you in the dim coming times may know how my heart went with them after the red rose-bordered hem. I knew they wouldn't come looking for anyone under their pile of catastrophe rubble. We have that thick mist in the morning to thank. Wouldn't have made it out so easily otherwise. Careful. We don't have any protective equipment. There's a risk of infection here if we get hurt. You too, moron. Originum-rich environments are especially dangerous to infected. Noted. I'll watch out. Is Kyrian asleep? I think she's just fallen asleep, yes. It wasn't fainting. Her breathing's very calm, I can tell. Sleep will ease her pain, if only by a little. But I still worry she might not make it if we don't stop to take care of her injuries soon. Are any of you disappointed? Why would we be? Didn't you say so yourself? You've got to fight with Dublin forces because they don't want a second leader. But they've got grander goals. They won't keep making chase. We're used to a life of running at this point. We can bear with it. But what about after, though? You still haven't told us what you're thinking for then. I don't have a very good idea yet. I'm sorry. Right. There might be fewer originum crystals deeper into the ruins. I want to take a look and see if we can hide ourselves anywhere for the moment. It's about time we all stop for some rest. But aren't there people over that way? They seem like normal folk. But we should steer clear anyhow, you said yourself. It's strange there's people in a place like this. We need to be careful. No need. You seem so afraid. What's the matter? I'm fine. Please, don't worry about me. She's come here before? Is she nearby? Hey, the one over there is walking kind of strange, isn't she? Don't look. Oh Lord, she's... She probably died some time ago. Bodies just being controlled by arts, like the Dublin soldiers we saw before. Why would they control a civilian? I'm not sure yet. Come with me. I'll handle these dead. It's very dim here. Follow the stone steps. Watch out for any shards of rock crystals as you go down. Moran, are you sure you're okay carrying Kyrian on your back? I'm fine, as long as your flame's lit. I can see where I'm going. Okay. We'll head in as deep as we can. Try not to be too loud. It's King Gale's castle? When the topic of that overthrown dynasty arises, some think of the piles upon piles of armor from fallen soldiers, while others claim its golden crown still hides beneath elaborate mechanisms deep within the ancient forest. Some see the towering walls of modern Victoria as a foil to the castle's vastness, paralleling the boundless inland sea of Carla's side with the virtuous prosperity of the Age of Heroes, while at the same time lamenting its passing decay under the shadow of Victoria. All have envisioned this ancient castle as a sorrowful tombstone to Kara, the ghost of resentment. But it merely sits silent on top of the hill, burying this place heart as it was before the palace stood, overgrown with weeds, covered in vines. How old is all this? 500 years? 1,000? Shh, don't wake Kyrian up. Sorry, I'm still a little shocked. No. Bowled over even. Really? Tell you the truth. We've put on productions of different King Gale stories each year. We know we're descendants of the Kingdom of Terra. That's why we're called Terrans. But no one used to believe it could all actually be true. There was even a legend of a forge, which fused together the weapons of every Terran soldier and overturned the fate of the dynasty. A long, long time ago, I met a man from the city who was searching all over for a traveling bard. He said to me, though many legends were made up by later generations, there must still be the traces of history left in those stories. Reed, you must know plenty about that, don't you? Are you not fond of this place? You've been quiet ever since we came in here. Maybe. When I was very young, I'd often read about the legends of Terra until I drifted to sleep. Be it the Victorian royal family scribes or those who wish to preserve Terran culture, they always write that it is the Draco's nature to fight. Legends say that the first Draco to lead the Gales boiled dry the waters of the river to travel south, to flee his clan that slaughtered each other over the throne, and settled the lands that came to be Terra. And legends say that Victoria's red dragon, the one who slayed the last nomadic Draco leader, gave his firstborn the title of King Gale while he still burbled in the cradle. And legends say the Draco of Terra was thereupon imprisoned in the palace. And though the exiled king cast away his own crown and traveled the wilderness for 20 years, upon his return and audience with the regent, his closest family, still he was murdered. Terra's history is full of stories like these. The Draco's palaces, teeming with conspiracy and bloodshed. I never longed for or dreamed of this place. I'm scared of it. I'm scared that one day I'll have to fight my sister. At least, I don't see any crystal clusters from the catastrophe in here. It should be safe to rest here. Good then. Here, Moran. Let me set Kyrian down for you. Let her sleep here, out of the wind. There's cover here, and the walls are sturdy. We could light a fire at night, and no one outside would notice us. Wait. Wise Reed, let her take a look by herself. I lay down now my soldier's honor here, so that in the time the soil of Terra needs no longer be soaked in carmine blood, and Dracos cross no swords with Draco kin. Be that unless the day comes, whereupon Red Dragon's flame should lead all that fell, our fighters from the forge to be reborn. Reed hears a faint stir. She pulls back the hand about to touch the rusted equipment before her. It's alive? It's the sort of thing anyone could activate. Why do you find it so strange someone relit it? She's been through here. It's not strange. Through a gap, she sees a purple flame. This was the palace of old. She was sure to come, and sure to mock it with laughter. No, that this is all the legendary monarch left us with. Her flames burn here. That's why so many of the deceased here cannot rest in peace. Simply vagabonds who lost their way and died of thirst too close, awakened by the flames of death. For no reason at all. No. Stay away. You're scared of that flame too, aren't you? I can see how you want to put it out. Yes, it will bring pain to too many people. But if you truly intend on it, then I won't let you pass. She lit the fire of Dublin. You know the flame you reignite could never be the same. She's done so many terrible things, told so many beautiful lies. But it was all necessary. She summoned thousands of Terrans to follow her lead, be they saints or criminals, nobles or thieves. You could never do it. No. I can. I don't believe that those sacrifices were all necessary. I will never believe that only her way will save the Terrans. But she's been the leader since the start. Since so long ago. Since that great fire in Oak Grove. She thinks back to the battered, wounded girl who laid there on the street. Reed wanted to pull her up, get her away, but was so afraid that by a reach of the hand, she too would become naught but ashes. And there, her elder sister walked up to the girl's side and asked, "Do you want to live? The sewers are right beside you. Climb down there, and those disgusting nobles will never catch you again." Mandragora. From there she escaped, and to there in the end, she returned. While you never did reach your hand to anyone, never pulled anyone up. If I'd reached out to her, then perhaps things would have been different. To be truly saved, she should have learned that there was so much more open to her, so much more than the power of the malefactor. Like the arsonist of that day. Yet the fact is, you're so afraid. You even fear your own power. Unable to do anything but let others control it. That's why they're all disappointed in you. Why you've disappointed even your sister. No. You're wrong. You speak nothing but the past. I am here now. I have held others' hands in mine. I cannot say it was me that pulled them to their feet. But if they want to walk forward, then my fire will clear the path for them. Even if they lead me with them as they go. If she could see all this, I know she wouldn't be disappointed. You found your companions by mere chance. In front of them, you act like the capable fighter, the orator who brings all under your banner. You pretend to have your own power, but in reality, you are simply mimicking her. You are nothing, can be nothing, but her shadow. She sees any method through to its extreme, while in the face of her, you are far too hesitant and weak. The officers that set light to the Terran district spring to her mind. They were boisterous in ridiculing the Terrans for their arrogance, for their protesting against injustice in Oak Grove, even though they could barely read and write. She knows this is the very thing her sister told her teacher, their teacher, that this was bound to happen. The Victorians lit the flame of hatred by their own hands. This great fire will burn until all is reduced to nothing. Don't blink, her sister told her. Witness clearly for yourself how our lives are destroyed again and again. Amidst the sea of charred corpses, the Draco who controls the fire of death lifts her hand to cast. A purple, ice-cold blaze immediately consumes the flames that had scorched the dead. That deathly blaze never was a true life-taker. She simply permits they climb from the ashes. To take revenge against those who destroyed their homeland. I have no regrets. I had always once thought she was in the right. We will throw ourselves into the fire, give even our own lives as fuel, to build the Terran's ideal nation in the end. So I always spoke by her side. But once the fuel has burned away, will there be anyone left in her nation? I've hesitated, rethought, run away. I do not regret it. My flight took me here. I've met people, seen things she's never seen. The things I want to say cannot be what she does. So I will not be afraid of the thought of her again. I will never be trapped within my own shadow. But as you recognize this palace, were you not fearing? I imagine you'd never be able to tell your companions where you are bound. But the answer has long been readied in your heart. If you won't become me, then how will you find your own place within Dublin's dreams? Lo, Shinny, what do you want? And in Reed's mind are the dead who walked to them in the great fire. Stop. Battered, bruised, scarred beyond recognition, yet with their thirst burning bright in their eyes. Their revenge against the Victorians' officers fulfilled, now walking to those who lit their flames. Walk no longer. You are owed your rest. By the time she reacts, those closest to her have fallen before her, the vacant sockets of their eyes all focused on her. In the fierce flash of her firelight, the deathly flames are extinguished. I'm sorry, sister. I'm sorry. I did not mean to ruin your arts. You've done well, Lo Shinny. She lifts her head in fear. For the very first time, her sister is smiling on her in commendation. Truly, very well. Your firelight is such a dazzling one. I always wondered what it would take for you to show your true strengths, for you to draw the attentions of all. Display to me your talent once again. Let me see that you truly can drive back my flames. Will you defeat me, my beloved sister? She'd considered the possibility of ending it all. Even it meant the fires of the Draco would never die. She'd imagined the flames of wrath bursting from her aching chest, burning away the shell and identity she had been given, liberating her from the shackles of herself. But when she truly went to touch her flames, desiring to hold them, she suddenly wondered if she never had control over them in the first place. You've done well, Loshini. You wanted me to give you my sincere praise. Is this good enough? Or have you prepared yourself by now for the shadow to return to the self? For you to replace me as the leader? I can give you this opportunity. Your next plume of flames will burn me to ashes. Will you reach out to me? The flames burn and her shadow sways slightly. But Reed averts her eyes. Not far away, Raine, who has just woken up, slowly props herself up atop an old apron and Moran hums as she cleans her wound. Sister, why did you come back? What do you see as you stand here? The campfire burned bright that night. At the time, Fionn was wandering around, begging for a new foothold to get business up and running. Selman was wrapping more wire around her weapon. Everyone called her the leader jokingly, but they were serious when they thanked her for bringing them all here. I heard that King Gale was crowned by the Victorians, and only then did they erect a royal palace over a ceremonial stone circle. Before that, it was first home to the Terrans. She thinks back to the festive winter nights from long, long ago. They would change into new, matching outfits in front of the fireplace, leaving behind a photograph of their smiling faces. What a lovely, warm little ball of fire. So, no, I don't care about being a shadow. But I am not your shadow. I am simply the shadow of our people's ideal leader. They want a way out, a way to get their lives back. I happened to be there and became needed by them. Why must I defeat you, sister? Not afraid of death? Please, don't say that, Raine. There's nothing wrong with being afraid of dying. How tragic it would be to die at Dublin's hands before we save our fellow Terrans. Dublin wants to save them too, you know. You're a lot more well-spoken than before. Lucky. We've still got plenty of anti-inflammatories. That hurt? Sorry. Reed, you're back. If we hide here tonight, we shouldn't run into any arts-controlled corpses again. Have you surveyed around us already? That's good. I wish we could stop for a bit longer myself, but Raine's injuries aren't looking good. Hey, what's that look on you for? I still remember at the beginning, we all saw you like you were our doctor. Only later, you realize you're just like all of us. Wounded. Are my own wounds, well, serious? No, they aren't. Don't worry, your injuries can be healed. It's just... Are you afraid of my fire? Of course not. And so she reaches out to the wounded Terran in front of her. The Draco's burning anger wells within her blood. In bygone times, the red dragon bled for his people. One drop of his blood incinerating plains from end to end. She swallows her rolling breath. The suppressed flames scorch her. But if doing so can soothe the pain, then she is willing to endure it. It is no true flame that burns in her hand, not even a flash of light. But invariably, the people are filled with the same feeling, the flowing of life, as gentle as one's eyes opening for the first time to the rays of morning. I'm guessing by your face, you're already feeling a lot better. Yeah, Reed, maybe you really are a doctor? Still, not that you work the same way that other doctors do. No, what these are my own flames. At long last. May you sleep soundly tonight, Kyrian. Never thought I'd see the day someone outside of the Victorian army would board a high-speed battleship. That should have been the first thing on your mind the moment you lowered the Victorian flag. I have nothing against you, Terran. I just want to see your force's military proficiency. Plus, I'm curious about that leader of yours. I certainly hope the Duke's guest isn't just relying on her Draco bloodline. Your arrogance towards us seeps from your very bones, Victorian. But when she gets up on the stage to give her speech, you'll find that she is the true master of the forces on this ship. I still don't get it. Are you people Dublin or not? After all, you don't dress anything like them. But regardless of who you are, you saved us from the Victorians. I'll follow you anywhere. I'm sorry we couldn't help your friend. It's fine. It's fine. As long as the others can be saved, I suppose she can say. Still living through them. Alright. By the way, Reed, have those people given up on hunting us? The team that was tailing us vanished fairly abruptly. But in any case, things work to our advantage. Dublin's forces should be assembled now. The Terrans are about to make their voice heard through Victoria. Soldiers. The Dublin forces I am in charge of has come all over Victoria to join his lordship's army. And together, they will fire the opening shots to the war for their survival. Up until the last few days, many people may not have heard of the Dublin name, or have any idea what we are fighting for. Your war is picking up steam as we speak, but ours has been raging on and on over the last decade. As we speak, those flying the Terran banner continue to bleed. There are no words that can describe the atrocities that the Terrans have had to endure. I have seen their streets burned to ash, their cities reduced to rubble, and yet they, who deserve everything the land can give them, met with our soldiers at risk of being executed to break their bread with us. I saw the Terrans crying out to us in their struggles. However, their salvation has been deferred not decades, but entire centuries. They appeal to their great and mighty compatriots, and to their neighbors of conscience, to all those Victorians who will not be co-conspirators to tyranny. They cry out for our attentive eyes. As I speak, there are those among us who are very well aware of the Terran blood. Yet there are others who may be asking, who exactly are we going to help? Terrans. With all the time we've spent together, we've all gotten used to using this word. But what you said never left my mind, Reed. You said the factory workshop we were in lacked protective measures, so everyone would slowly come down with seropathy and waste away. Yet the owner of the factory who drove the Terrans to work under such dangerous conditions was himself a Terran. There are so many people like you who speak bog standard Victorian. Though they are born in the same place as us, they are afraid of talking with us and revealing their accents. What exactly is a Terran? Who is it we're trying to save? It's been on my mind for a long time too. Do you want to hear what I think? Go on, Reed. We're not looking forward that badly to fleeing for our lives. Of course, we're happy to hear you out. At this point, I might say, it's the name given to the centuries of our plight. In the past, Victorians spent many years trying to erase the Terran name, but I'm sure you can all feel it. Those ties are still there. Victorians don't just call us Terrans. They call us nasty sounding, uncultured bumpkins, good-for-nothing rascals, ill-bred scum. Or as many people have experienced, they strip us of our property, our land and our rights, even the lives of our kin, all because of our common name. Some may say to us, then why not give up your language and your traditions? Why not sing the same songs as Victorians at the festivals? As long as the others can't tell we're Terrans, we'll be able to receive the same treatment as them. Of course, there are others who may retort that even though they are Terran, they've earned wealth through willpower and dedication, receiving enough education to climb up into the upper class. To this, I say, how ironic it is that we must throw aside our culture and betray our own name just to earn the dignity of being seen as ordinary people by them. Though some of us have achieved greatness, the first step to success invariably is to become Victorian. Duke Wellington, surely you understand this better than anyone else. How many people still remember that your heart pumps a Terran's blood? But given that Victoria is deliberately trying to strip us of our name, does that mean they've really forgotten about Terra's existence? If that was the case, then why did I, a descendant of King Gale, a surviving Draco. 200 years after the fall of the Terran Kingdom. Watch my parents be murdered by the Aslan assassins, left to lie in their own blood. No. They are afraid that we remember our names and expose their lies. And I stand before you to remind you of this fact. So what you're saying is, years and years ago, the Victorian nobles came to Terra to subjugate all its people? Yes. That much is what the heroes said. Wow, I really freaking messed that word up. Yes, that much is what the history books tell us. There's numerous fabrications about Terra, but some interspersed truths too. Victoria forcibly put King Gale into power as monarch of the Terra region, coercing him to canonize many Victorian nobles. The unfair treatment towards Terra as a land was codified into law too. Since then, the Terran's accent has been associated with their lowly status. The Victorians have come to see the Terrans as stupid, vulgar, and uneducated. But who will come to educate the people of Terra in all these hundreds of years? Not a single soul. The Terrans have slowly fled from their homeland, perhaps drifting through Victoria along its nomadic cities, but never enjoying the same rights and privileges as the Victorians. Have we ever had seats at prestigious banquets or institutions of higher education? If there are layabouts among us, is that not because the Victorians have taken away our right to work? The injustices we've long endured were so cleverly hidden in the lengthy years after the word Terran was expunged. But no longer. We finally understood why we have been driven to despair. There is much I know, both about Terra's history, as well as about the legends spun by the subsequent generations to trace Terra's origins. I can tell you about everything, through injustices and fabricated dreams alike. But I won't speak of them. You'll all want to escape from your past lives. Well, of course, we can't live on like this. So it's alright, even if we can't tell we're Terrans. I just think that wherever lights out chimes, everyone must need a flame that burns through the night. The only thing we must fight is the misfortune thrust upon us. Therefore, the fight for the Terran's survival is something we must do. Right now, we are docked in Oak Grove, once a Terran community burned to ashes by a tyrant's flames. Perhaps those with keen enough eyesight will be able to see Terra's palace destroyed by a catastrophe over yonder. Such are the scars left behind on the Terran people. However, it is hardly our intent to recover Terra's ancient lands or reconstruct our history out of its tatters. We are wanderers in a new land, and the road I wish to take you down is one of constructing a new era and a new order. This battleship's next stop will be at the port of Londinium. Naturally, we are not going to compete for Victoria's crown. We are simply taking our destiny back from the Victorians into our own hands. Our eyes are open now. We clearly see that our suffering is rooted in the dominion and servitude that Victoria imposed upon Terra. As such, we ought to let Victoria deny the legitimacy of its own past actions. The war may not end in Londinium, but surely we do not fear a long and bitter fight. The flames have already been kindled. They will burn away the ancient order of this land, taking our rotten shackles along with it. As for the new order that shall be established, I turn to all of you. I implore all of you, regardless of whether you're Terran or Victorian, regardless of who you are or where you came from, to simply fight for the glory of justice, for the unprecedented era to come. Until the Terrans are free to compose their own dreams, just as the Victorians are, nothing shall stand in our way. But Reed, what are we fighting for? For the survival of the Terrans is simply too vague. In past times, I always thought that life was so fragile. Upon this great land, many a thing waits to take our lives from us. Everything we do is no more than a desperate struggle, a stand against death, and in the end, one from which nobody can emerge victorious. If I concern myself too much with people's lives, how would I ever be able to come face to face with all the ubiquitous sacrifices, with the sea of unmarked graves? Yet, the weight of a life is immense. That is something I can't escape from. We cannot defeat death, but we can, and we should, give dignity to the living. I believe that the people of Terra should have a warm fire at night and wine in their glasses when they sing their songs. This should be a day when the people of Terra no longer have to run away or bid farewell to their families and lovers. I hope for the people of Terra to have their own homeland where they can live in peace. I hope that all those we've parted ways with will all be reunited there. The wind rustles the reeds, and amidst their swishing, she feels the painful sear of the dancing flames. She sees that it is an austere, yet distant dream. Perhaps not a single person standing here will be here to see that day come. Dublin's flames will burn this land. Surely it will be harrowing. Thousands upon thousands of lives. Nothing more than fuel for the flames of war. But even then, the weight of a life cannot ever be diminished. Let's go. We are part of it too. Oh, right. I got a letter from home yesterday. They're all alive and well. Maybe when we get back from war, they'll be doing even better. Lost for words again, Moran. Sorry. I couldn't help wondering to myself, what should living life be like? Well, how about starting with a song? Go on. You might as well. Nobody's after our heads for once. By the firelight of homely hearth I sleep, dreaming of honey, rum and stew. Say, Reed, what are you gonna do if we end up signing with Dublin? Don't worry. There's no difference between her and I. We're both trying to realize the same single dream for the Terran people. When that day comes, I will go see her.